again, Corey. I'll give it to you, and let's see if Monty's right.
Thank you very much, Maria. Welcome back to the feature match area, everybody. We are going to be jumping into creativity versus control. It's like a battle of the two brains.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to see the Duke himself taking on Tobia Nappi, and I am looking forward to seeing who comes out on top. This is one of the last remaining Azorius control decks, so not a great weekend for them. Tobia, you are the champion for the control lovers.
It's a tough deck to play. You know, it's a tough deck to play, and it's really tough to be prepared for all these different decks as a blue-white control deck. So, yeah, not too surprising, but impressive play so far from Tobia.
Players getting ready to rock and roll. So let's jump on down into game number one and see how this one shakes out. What are you expecting to see in the first few turns here, Corey?
The first few turns, and especially game one, for the Duke himself is a little rough for blue-white control. This is a matchup they don't really love, especially because you have a lot of cards like Fiery Impulse, Fire Prophecy. You have a lot of dead removal game one, so those are going to be the best use for those kind of cards is going to be discard to Chapter 2 of Fable the Mirror Breaker and really hoping that card resolves. And you even see Impulse fired off right now, just needing a land, can't risk it getting counterspelled.
Discard fodder. Certainly available for Reid Duke when Fable the Mirror Breaker does pitch up, and we do see that there is a copy in hand along with a big score, Fiery Impulse and Fiery Prophecy. Two things that aren't super heckin' useful right now, but Fable the Mirror Breaker is going to resolve.
Reid could not have slammed that any faster. And one thing, there's no blue mana. There's a Field of Ruin, so that can get there, you know, through over the course of a turn. But yeah, no blue mana from Tobia. Had the Dovin's Veto for the Fable Mirror Breaker, the texture of this game would be much different if that was drawn or if we had blue in the opening hand.
Yeah, that's a tough beat there for Tobia. Censor, Dovin's Veto, and make disappear. March of Otherworldly Light can take care of something, but not the ideal start here for the control player.
Yeah, and the rough part here is you can't really March of the Otherworldly Light this Goblin Shaman like you'd want to. You have to make the choice between go getting an island or marching, and you just need an island here, especially with that card Foretold, which we know it's Behold the Multiverse. Reid probably knows it too. There's not a ton of Foretell here. Maybe a saw it coming here and there.
Yeah, Starting to have at least one of the Foretell sideboard cards available.
Yeah, that card can really get out of hand in the right matchup. And especially when you have some callbacks, there's Baneslayer Angel and Lyra, so that really pumps the angels that it makes. Yeah, that's a combination.
Oh man, talk about combination. Wombo combo, Fables, back-to-back, 2 goblins generating extra mana here. And we're going to see Field of Ruin taking care of a land. Both players will go and find a basic. And I guess Tobia is going to be hoping for a board wipe soon.
Absolutely, and this is the nice thing that this Izzet Creativity deck can do. Most of the time, it is just a combo deck. That's plan number one. But when you can go Fable into Fable against a deck like Control where it's not pressuring you, now it's this weird tension point where you have to deal with not only the Shamans, but eventually deal with the reflections of Kiki Jiki. And the timing works out pretty weird where if you just wait for both of them to flip to Chapter 3 and then Wrath, all of a sudden you have taken so much damage, and then maybe you're tapped out, and then the combo can go. So Reid's going to play this kind of weird game where he's going to be pressuring with this until Tobia taps out and puts the shields down, and then might be going for the combo.
As it stands, Fable the Mirror Breaker number 1 is going to flip to the reflection of Kiki Jiki. A couple cards in hand that Reid most likely going to be happy to send to the graveyard. See if we want to find a little bit of extra something. But at this point, you know, he could just go for the, all right, if you're not going to kill these, I'm going to kill you with them.
And Reid might do the flex here, which you never want to see when you're sitting across from Chapter 2 of Fable, where you're like, I'll keep these cards. And you're like, oh, God. Because his hand's pretty good. This is what you want. You don't have Fire Impulse. You don't have Fire Prophecy in the hand. You have big score and stuff that you can play at your opponent's end step. But Reid doesn't want to get flooded on this type of effect, so decides to discard. A little surprised, to be honest, on the big score going away, because that is an incredible card, but it has some liability if it gets countered. Not only does the spell get countered, but you discarded something, but...
Yeah, that's never a fun feeling, but we're going to see March of Otherworldly Light take care of one of these goblins. So limiting the damage taken does Tobia. In for 2 points of damage, another treasure made. So certainly getting ahead in terms of board presence and mana available.
Yep, absolutely. And something we might see, not necessarily there yet, but kind of this Team CFB's secondary plan of trying to get aggro. The Shamans usually don't do it on their own, but when you get 2 reflections of Kiki-Jikis going, you can wait till your opponent's end step, copy them over and over and over again, and amass 6 or 7 2/2s, and then untap and attack for the win.
Nice.
Always a fun little trick with that card.
Tiny baby shark added to the battlefield just to try and stave off some of the damage coming in here. Dovin's Veto, farewell. Okay, that's something. Just need to get to 6 lands, though.
Yeah, farewell is excellent. Being able to clean up the treasures and the creatures and the fables. You don't really care about the graveyard too much, but that's the exact kind of sweeper you want. That not only does it take care of the creature problem, but takes care of the treasures so Reid can immediately combo and win afterwards.
Yeah, farewell, just an excellent sweeper, you know, just gets rid of absolutely everything except planeswalkers. You know, we can maybe talk to wizards about them, so we can just include that.
Yeah, why not?
Just
Add another text, line of text onto that.
Yeah. Secrets of the Key flashed back from the graveyard, so we're going to make 2 clues.
Yeah, Clue's something that we haven't seen a ton of in Magic these days, but, you know, has a flashback to one of my favorite cards, Tireless Tracker, creating some clues. A card I know Reid was a huge fan of. Kind of that Jun-style card that's right up his alley.
Oh, yeah, and also an excellent target for Indomitable Creativity as well. You know, just an extra way to add to the board, you know, diversify your permanents.
Exactly. But, yeah, I mean, the one of Farewell that is in the main deck, you know, Reid, of course, has seen the deck list, has it on its mind, but whenever there's a one of, you can't really be, like, too prepared for it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to allow some variance to go and plan for the 4 ofs, plan for what you would really expect, which is, you know, more Supreme Verdicts.
We're going to see attack here. Little Goblin Shaman making some more treasure.
14. Yeah.
Down to 14 goes Tobia Nappi.
So interesting from Tobia to not cast the Behold beforehand. I guess you want to play around a counterspell, but you might want to think, when am I too far behind where I have to, you know, take some risks. Try to Behold into a land so you can get to land 6 and cast Farewell. But we do got to remember, Reid does play counterspells as well.
Yep. Make Disappear especially good if you're able to sacrifice it.
Reid taking this opportunity while there's no blue on the stack to have a big score.
Oh. Oh,
wow.
Creativity with Make Disappear backup.
Yeah, wow. If there's ever, the one problem with, normally you're like, wow, if you have this combo piece and you have Make Disappear, you can usually fight through any counterspell. Dovin's Veto is the corner case where it's like, dang it, no matter what, that's probably going to get countered. So Dovin's Veto ends up being incredible against this Izzet Creativity deck.
Looks like we did find a blue land here.
Yep, very needed.
Needed indeed.
And Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, definitely the staple card for these Azorius control decks ever since it was printed.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Control players rejoiced when they saw that.
And he never went away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, an incredibly powerful planeswalker, just crucial to the longevity of the Azorius control game plan.
Yep.
Let's see, how do we start things off here? Plenty of action in hand. Memory Deluge, Supreme Verdict, Make Disappear, Farewell, Dovin's Veto. I mean, what more could you want?
So this is interesting. The double reflection trick is online right now. I think Reid can just end step here, use all these treasures to copy unless there is a way to remove it. It doesn't look like it. It looked like Tobia had to cast Verdict here to not die to these reflections. But then if Tobia did cast the Verdict, then you were just able to Creativity. Let's see.
I don't think he's got any way to interact with us now.
I don't think so either.
Glacial Fortress, kill everything. That would have been...
Slide this deck and graveyard over to then go more. And yeah, we're seeing this beautiful trick. Each one comes into play with haste. That then targets the next one.
Yep.
You don't need both of them to not be summoning sick. You just need one of them.
Just
because
need one,
then yes. And that's all these cards flipped over. Just think of them as more reflection of Kiki-Jikis. They stay in for your turn. because this is end step, they will go away at Reid's next end step, which I don't think there'll be one, but...
Yep, no, unless there is a settle the wreckage that we don't know about.
Yeah.
I think the Duke is free and clear to just swing with his goblin army.
So the Duke knows that there is not settle the wreckage in the main. There's like Wandering Emperor that Reid has to be concerned about, but outside of that, and left 2 mana open there to make sure he had Make Disappear for Wandering Emperor.
Oh, here we go. That is a lot of damage. Look at all those copies. Yeah, get those tokens out of there. Good grief. That is one angry goblin army if I've ever seen one. And,
this is 16, and there's one blocker, so it's 14. So if there's anything to get in the way, it would be a problem. But with Reid having
the Make
Disappear, and Soakins in, actually, you can Soakins in to get in a couple more. But looks like this is going to be game one going to the Duke.
Jeez Louise, here we go. Tobia Nappi unable to overcome the power of the goblin.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talk about this deck kind of being Splinter Twin, and usually the Splinter Twin combo is big score with Indomitable Creativity, but there's a Plan B Splinter Twin, which is Fable and Fable. That's how good that card is. And look at that dice on top of the deck there. That does indicate how many cards we are down to. A way to let you all know, if you pay attention to that, of how many cards we have left. Of course, it's really easy when we have the cards in the hand, but maybe for our backup matches, we'll help you out a little bit.
So looking at these two hands, the mulligan, trying to find some actions, trying to find some reactive permission, ways to just stave off a similar thing from happening from Reid Duke's side of things. But Indomitable Creativity ×2, Shark Typhoon as well, and some counter spells from Reid. This is going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Shark Typhoon being kind of the best card. Just wait till end step once it gets a little larger. Play draw go here, and Shark Typhoon is just the best card for draw go. Being able to end step, make a big threat, and cycle through it as a cantrip. I was pretty interested to see if Reid was going to go with the Plan B that was going to be just bringing in a bunch of Hullbreaker Horrors and Sharks and taking out the combo. But with seeing Creativity in, more than likely, Reid still has the combo in place. There's a chance he's just Creativity into 2 Hullbreaker Horrors. Then when you draw him, it's still okay, so you can cast him.
I like to call the sideboard plan the Seafood Buffet.
Seafood Buffet.
Sharks, Krakens.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like it.
Make Disappear, taking care of the Memory Deluge. So no extra cards there for Tobia. Veto, another Deluge, and Ottawa in hand. There's a Hullbreaker Horror of his own, and for the most part, it's just both players testing the waters.
Yep.
Making the land drops, seeing what they can resolve on their opponent's turn, so that their turn, they're free and clear to do what they want.
100%. Totally agree. And now we start to see, once they get to about 3/3, the price of these are right, and you do see the 3/3 Shark here, and picked up another Shark, so no complaints here. But Reid, not only not in his hand, doesn't really have an answer to a Hullbreaker Horror if Tobia top decks land number 7, but not many answers in the deck. It's a tricky one to deal with. I guess you can just Creativity it, but you usually play Hullbreaker Horror at your opponent's end step and then untap, and then you have the world as your oyster.
Yeah, well, look at us, more seafood.
All intentional, I swear.
Yes.
If
that wasn't
not
intentional,
stumbling into this.
You're just accidentally good at your job. Which is the most annoying kind of good.
Yes,
good
thank
job.
you, thank
Good
you.
job.
I'll take that as a compliment.
3/3 Shark swinging in here at Tobia. Down to 15. Now, just a reminder for anyone who's just joining us, 12 is the magic number. Reid Duke currently at 10-3, so has 2 more matches to win to lock up his top 8, but we'll only get to that in the next round. So
yep, 2-1 into top 8. Tobia, with that draw, does have to just go 3-0 here to cleanly make it. Of course, breakers can come into play, but you really want to make sure you get to that 12 wins.
Yeah.
And be in control of your own destiny.
For sure. Lock it up. Don't leave anything to fate or breakers.
Land 7 was Hall of the Storm Giants. The absolute worst top deck Tobia could have had here. And now look at this pressure. Tobia's already down to 7, or already down to 8. That's a lot better than 7 on this battlefield. But it looked like Reid did not pick up land number 7 for this Hullbreaker Horror as well, so...
Well, you know what? We might not need it because If he gets an attack in here, and I don't know if there's a spike field hazard, if he's just got the one, he's got 2 copies in the deck.
Yeah, I mean, getting to 1 is definitely excellent here. Looks like Reid is testing the water with this big score.
Yeah, let's see.
And Tobia cannot counter anything. It's going to be a little bit of an acting job.
Yeah.
I guess I'll let that resolve. But Tobia needs to play Hullbreaker Horror and then start casting spells to bounce these shards. Or top deck Supreme Verdict or Farewell or something and pray it's going to resolve.
Ooh, that's Sokenzan.
That's lethal if he just goes for it.
Yeah, because you can't counter a channel ability.
Yeah.
It's just whoops.
You can flash in a Hullbreaker Horror and block one of them, but that's exactly 8.
lethal.
So
yeah.
Reid has this wrapped up already. A little behind the scenes for everyone. I was talking to Ailey before this. I was like, get ready. This is going to be a long one.
Yeah.
Well, I lied. This is usually a really, really grinding matchup and a tough one for creativity, but some stumbles from Tobia, some unfortunate draws, and some masterful play from Reid Duke is making this a quick match.
I've just got to say thank you to whoever designed Shark Typhoon, because it's a mainstay in control decks, you know.
Yeah.
It wants to get the game over and done with. It's like, Teferi, you take far too long, and no one wants to see you tuck yourself into a library and just exile things. So you know what? I'm just gonna
Yeah, absolutely. It does kind of speed that process up a little bit. Same with Hall of the Storm Giants. Can kind of close some stuff out there. Doesn't go for it though.
Ooh,
okay. And once again, we have perfect information, you know, so everything is different there. Reid is just thinking, you know what, I have all these counter spells. Why risk it?
Yeah, there's no need to rush it.
But
for our benefit.
Yeah, but
more magic.
Hullbreaker Horror is one of the reasons to risk it. But this all being said, this Hullbreaker Horror is going to come into play, and then there's only counter spells, aka reactive spells from Tobia. So Tobia still does need to draw some kind of spells that he can play proactively, and maybe even counter his own spells.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to do something like that. That's going to be such a bit of a pickle of a situation to be in, as Tobia goes to 1 life. Reid Duke sitting at a comfortable 16, and Ottawara is just going to say, get out of there. That's not even a spell. Oh.
Yeah, huge draw. I didn't see the
Love it.
Ottawara pickup. That is a nice reason to hold back. There's no real risk. And wow.
That's it. Man.
Lightning fast.
Lightning fast magic, indeed. You love to see it. If you're a control fan, sorry, you're going to have to cross your fingers, hold your thumbs for Tobia in the next rounds to come. But if you're a Reid Duke fan, it's got 1 more to go.
1 more. 2 rounds, and if he wins one of them in the top 8, like we said, he hasn't been there since Mythic Championship 1, so would always be nice to see the Duke back in the Sunday elimination matches.
You're going to love to see that indeed. We've got plenty more magic after this, friends, so don't go anywhere. Nathan Steuer versus Takumi Matsuura. Welcome back to Pro Tour Phyrexia. We're having a look at the Magicon happening at the same time as the Pro Tour. Everybody enjoying just being around each other, gathering, playing a bunch of Commander, Pauper. I saw some cubes getting fired off. It's just a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Some big seals and everything. True PTQ level seals. Oh, those are cool.
Oh, those
are super cool.
So good indeed. Seeing people qualify for Pro Tours that aren't this one. Oh, yeah. It's an excellent weekend. And you know what? It's going to be an excellent weekend for a couple more players here. 8 to be precise, as we are trying to fill our top 8. Nathan Steuer up against Takumi Matsuura. Let's jump in and join this match in progress to see who of these players will improve their records. Jumping in game number 2 here, Mono White Humans picking up the first game against the combo. I know you like this combo, and I'm rooting for the Mono White deck here, because go Critters.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did see the draw that we had from Nathan Steuer here was just a crazy long matchup against David Inglis, where they just had a crazy best of 3 that I watched last time. It was really fun to watch. Really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's cool. And at the end of the round, there's just like the swarm of people around the remaining players.
Yeah, I was one of them. Yeah, it was cool to watch.
Lemonarch Aspirant hits the battlefield here for Takumi Matsuura. He's had an excellent tournament so far.
Yeah, been playing well.
He's been performing excellently.
And this is the matchup that Takumi really wants, you know, against Lotus Field. That is not the 2-drop that Takumi wants. No. Once again, Thalia we saw be so good up against Benson earlier. That's really what he would like. Again, that card is so disruptive in a lot of matchups and kind of blank in some others. But this is one of them where it's amazing. You know, you have Emergent Ultimatum trying to be cast from Nathan Steuer, where not only does it tax that, it taxes the other spells on top of it. You have to deal with that first. Speaking of cards you have to deal with, that is that beautiful alt art Reidane here. Another just very tricky sideboard card here out of the mono white aggro deck.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you'd like to cost something that costs 4 or more? Well, pay up.
Yeah, pay up.
Tax.
Absolutely. Yeah. There we do see the namesake card for Nathan Steuer, though. Lotus Field there on the bottom of the screen. A cycle of a Vizier there to be able to add 1 blue mana.
Now, this deck is capable of killing on turn 3. So talk to us about what we're looking for to get that done.
So to kill on turn 3, it's pretty rare, and it's impossible with Reidane on the other side, but it starts with Arboreal Grazer to be able to ramp out Lotus Field and get that going on turn 2. And then there's a possibility you can cycle Vizier to add a mana, then copy Thespian Stage, as we just saw, to Lotus Field, and then Hidden Strings unlock. You have 6 mana. And then you can go from there.
Okay.
But with Reidane on the battlefield, Nathan's really got to be focusing on, okay, first I have to find some of the sideboard cards that you bring in. Ritual of Soot as a one-of is usually the go-to card. Nathan has some Fading Hopes that you might want to bring, and most of the time that's enough. Just end-step Fading Hope one of these cards, and then start going off. And yeah, then you just add a ton of mana. You cast Mastermind's Acquisition, go get Approach of the Second Sun in your sideboard, cast it through other means. You cast it once again, and you win the game that way.
What you're saying is it's all rather simple.
Super simple,
okay.
Yep. It's just the same as attacking, putting your opponent's life total from 20 to 0. Yeah, it is really complicated, but when it comes down to it, after you get a lot of reps in, it does the same thing every time. So it's one of those decks. Once you do it once, then you kind of really get the feel for it, and it becomes a lot easier.
I can imagine. And this is something that Nathan described as his comfort zone. Which, you know, for the casual Magic player, like myself, for example, it's just like, oh, yeah, that's super comfortable. But like you mentioned, it's just a repetition thing, you know? You learn by doing, and yeah, it's just what he wanted to bring this weekend, and is very confident in his deck choice. Yeah,
and in preparing for this event myself, you know, I always like to just try every single deck, and I found myself trying Lotus Field, and I had to force myself to stop playing it because I was having so much fun, and I was having pretty good results testing for it online. And
you're like, trophy.
Exactly.
How many did you get?
Well, I mean, come on, success. I wasn't saying that much success. 4 1s here and there, and I was happy with that. But.
All right. Well, we're up to shenanigans here, floating some blue. Gonna look for more of the pages, perhaps.
And we do have 3 rounds left. Like you were saying earlier, 12 is that magic number. And at 10, 2, and 1, getting to 12 is excellent. So 2-1 automatically locks it up. But even if Nathan gets a 1-2 and gets to 11, if there's other 11 win players that are going to get in, Nathan is going to be above them with that draw. So that draw with Tangrams last round, not ideal. Of course, they'd both rather have won, but not a bad time to pick up a draw since they're both very live for top 8 still.
Yes, indeedy.
3 blue, 3 black.
Alrighty.
3 blue, 3 black, says Nathan, so this might be time.
Ooh.
Scroll down to 0.
That usually signifies
What about
Dark
Reid?
Petition.
Yeah. Because most of these haymakers that he's casting,
Yeah.
I believe there was a ritual. Yeah,
Yep,
Ritual of Soot taking
Ritual
care
of
of those
Soot.
creatures. So, all right, now he's free and clear to get up to nonsense. Can he do anything with the rest of this turn?
Nathan plays Magic close to his heart here and close to his personal body too, so the cards are a little too close to him, but we'll keep you updated as well. But now 3 mana available, so we'll see if Nathan is still thinking this over. A hidden strings here, floating 1 blue, untapping both up to 7 mana. That does unlock a lot of things. The tax of Redain is no longer a problem, so this game could be over this turn depending on what Nathan has.
Let's see what our reigning world champion has up his sleeve.
And we usually do see quite long turns from these Lotus Field decks. Like, even though maybe Nathan does have the win, I would guess not, because whenever I have seen him with the actual, factual win here, he goes pretty fast. He knows the lines that are, just statistical wins. But this is maybe a piece it together, kind of try some stuff here.
All right, so no win on that turn. Goes back to Takumi, who's going to be happy with that, but it's not ideal having lost both creatures.
Okay, so it looks like I don't see Ritual of Soot in the graveyard anymore, but I do see Balaged's Sanctuary, which the flip side of it, Balaged's Recovery, brought back Ritual of Soot into hand.
Yep, that makes sense. Because there is the card you were talking about. Thalia got in of Threeben, Tax Lady.
An impressive card in this matchup, but when you already have these Lotus Fields and Nathan isn't getting pressured right now, you definitely got to put advantage to Nathan here, unless the hand is non-functional.
Another Thespian stage. 2-2 from the library. Looks like it's going to name Lotus Field. I would hazard a guess it's going to name.
That's a pretty good call.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good call.
Hey, you're late.
There is the Unbeatable Grazer. And copies this. So starting with 9 mana next turn, if Nathan has something like Dark Petition in hand, Emergent Ultimatum, more than likely with 9 mana to start it up, it's probably game, but we shall see.
We shall see shortly, as here's something we've seen pretty often.
Snap block leading to me believing that either the game is over or Ritual of Soot is just going to be cast right away.
We'll see. We're not entirely sure what's in Nathan's hands, so playing guessing games at the moment. Ritual of Soot, though, we do know is there. Balaged Recovery fetching that from the graveyard, so whatever force Takumi is trying to amass, it's going to get a little dead. But we're going to go dig for some more cards. Go on, Corey. What card's that?
That is Pour Over the Pages.
Good job, buddy.
We'll have to lecture Nathan after this to play his cards a little bit higher for us. But he's the world champ. He can do what he wants.
We can't lecture him.
He is the world champ. He's our world champion, so we'll give him a pass on this one.
Wants.
So normally Pour Over the Pages does net 1 mana, but with the Thalia tax, it's just free.
Yep.
Just a free draw 3, discard 1. No big deal.
No biggie whatsoever. Lotus Field tapped once more.
And that's usually where you start. You start with all the Pour Over the Pages to make sure you just get a stocked hand, and then you reevaluate from there. Be like, okay, does this amount to a win? Looks like another Ritual of Soot here, floating 1 black.
Oh, another Thespian Stitch. Oh, hey, buddy.
Elder Gargaroth here, an incredibly powerful card.
Nice.
With the Brutal Cathar to be able to deal with it.
Yep, that was a powerful card. It's now done. Yeah, Brutal Cathar just snapped that up. Easy peasy.
3 black floating.
3 black floating. Okay, so that does look like a Dark Petition. Yep. 3 black, 3 blue, and then Dark Petition adds the 3 black afterwards, as long as you have the spell mastery. So usually that's game. Because we have 4 mana here, that's going to probably get either Emergent Ultimatum or Leer, as long as there's some hidden strings in the yard, which there is. There's Pour over the pages, so this isn't completely GG no matter what, but it would be pretty hard to break here because, oh yeah, you do have the Dark Petition in there as well. So yeah, this should be it.
All right, so we're going to go to a game 3 here shortly.
Not shortly.
Not shortly. Okay, well, eventually, let's say.
There we
Eventually,
go.
we'll go to a game 3. Nathan Steuer is going to demonstrate the loop-de-loop, do the stuff and things that he does. Corey can explain this all much better than I can, but yeah, basically, if you're sitting on the other side of this, keep check, make sure that you're keeping track of the mana, how many things have been untapped, and whatever else is relevant.
So this is one thing I was not doing when I was playing this deck. I didn't really realize it, but it makes so much sense. The reason why we have hidden strings underneath Leer there, they have the ability to cipher it. And normally you don't really want to do that because you'd rather have the card in your graveyard. But if you're casting it with Leer from your graveyard, you might as well cipher it because it's going to exile. So yeah, that's one thing I was not playing optimally. And if I had a coaching session from Nathan, he'd be like, okay, so here, I'm going to stop you there.
Yeah.
Let's start playing correctly, Corey.
Now, Cypher isn't something that's been very relevant.
It doesn't come up very often because mostly there's no creature that you really attack with profitably. Leer's like the only one that can actually get in damage. Sometimes Hope Tender or, the other 2-drop that some of them are playing, Voyager Satyr.
Yeah. So it's basically just a way to recast the spell if there was an opportunity to attack, which we probably won't see.
Exactly. If Leer were to connect, but this game's over, so.
So what should we chat about while this game gets over, Corey?
Still lecturing Nathan to bring up the cards a little bit. I think that's, that's kind of his main topic.
All right, so floating some more mana. And at this point, Takumi is he's just sitting, he's just chilling.
Yep, and just watching it, making sure, that Nathan knows exactly how to do this. We know Nathan has played this plenty of time. Like you've been saying, it is his comfort zone.
Yep.
White and red. So 3 white, 3 red.
And whenever you get the white going...
Big dinosaur!
Yes.
Ooh, Zakama, I was hoping we would see this.
Yeah, so this is a plan where they just transition against mono white to just bringing in Zakama and taking out Emergent Ultimatum, taking out some of the cards that Thalia and Redain really deal with, and just saying, you know what, you cannot beat a Zakama. To be fair,
that made me happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. To be fair, Takumi does have like ossifications and Brutal Cathars and stuff, so it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But you still usually enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a 9/9 that can do a bunch of stuff. Just blow up some things, deal some damage. Yeah, just 3 damage to whatever's targeting.
Okay, game number 3 here, though. Thalia on the play is exactly what Takumi wants, and so far no play from Nathan. Easily could have had Sylvan Scrying or Impulse.
Oh, Adeline as well. This is the perfect start here for Takumi Matsuura on mono white humans. He wants to get this over and done with. He's not going to let Nathan play solitaire at all.
If we had an advantage bar, it'd be slammed into Takumi's favor here, because right now, I think we can threaten lethal next turn.
Yeah.
And even Ritual Soot is not possible to be cast next turn. These are some of the games where Lotus Field just cannot win.
Oh, man. What a blisteringly fast start here for Takumi Matsuura.
So that's 6 creatures at least.
Oh!
7, yeah. Wow.
What a duality there between the two games. Just like, oh, I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. Oh, no, you're dead.
Yeah.
What?
Absolutely. I hope someone didn't go to get a glass of water after game 2 thinking they had some time, because that was an absolute beating, and that's what mono white aggro can do when you're on the play against Lotus.
The perfect hand.
Yeah. You can't play cards like Fatal Push, from the Lotus Field side. So those kind of draws, you just cannot beat.
No, absolutely not. Incredible stuff there from Takumi Matsuura. Mono white humans getting the job done.
Yeah.
This was a bit of an iffy deck coming into the weekend, but wow, that was impressive.
That was really impressive, and the list that Takumi has been playing has really looked awesome all weekend. You know, these ossifications look great in the aggressive matchups. And then when you can just draw this right combination in these combo matchups, you know, that is really, really what you're looking for from that mono white aggro deck. And it looked really impressive. So big congrats to the winner there. Yeah, absolutely.
Chef's kiss. Indeed. We have one more match for you, friends. It is going to be David Inglis versus Márcio Carvalho. So let's jump in to game number 3.
All
That's
right.
a Greasefang. Rakdos Sacrifice. Oh, we haven't seen Sacrifice yet, Corey, you and I.
We haven't, and Márcio has been playing this style of deck and plays this deck with ease. You know, always impressive. We see just 6 cards there, so David did mulligan once here, and then here is a Thoughtseize. That's exactly what you don't want to happen when you're up against these decks that have Thoughtseize. You keep a lot more loose hands. You know, I already keep loose hands, so, you know, I mean, that's already pretty easy. But whenever you mulligan and get Thoughtseized, it's always pretty rough. But that being said, David's hand is just very good.
Yeah. Pretty darn good indeed, but Greasefang herself is going to get chucked into the bin. And unfortunately, this deck doesn't work inversely where the Parhelion can resurrect the rat.
Yeah, no kidding. Yep. You need it the other way around for sure.
Not that we have a hard casting Parhelion, but yeah.
I have seen it before.
Oh yeah, me too. Bloodtithe Harvester on the board. Gonna make a blood token. Vessel of Nascency down for David Inglis.
And you notice that record from David, same kind of story exactly from Nathan. They were at table 2 last round and had a deck check, so there was a large time extension, and then just had a amazing matchup where, you know, a couple more turns from either players, and it would have been one, but went to time, had a draw, and still in a great spot in this tournament.
You're doubling as a flora portrait now too, huh? Look at you go.
No, I'm doubling as a fan in between rounds. I'm going, I love these tense moments when you go out there and you can just feel the gravitas, you know, when you go and watch some of these players and you see their friends around them after they win and they jump up, give them hugs. That's what I live for.
Don't breathe.
All right,
Both
so
these
there's a
Ravines
vessel.
Informant, Chariot and a Mana Confluence revealed.
Right, so some good options here. We did see Witherbloom Command as another card in hand. Not amazing here. You know, you can kill the Shaman, or excuse me, yeah, it is -3/-1. So you can't really kill the Shaman. Not that effective there, so just not that great in this matchup. It does deal with Oven, which can be a problem.
Kill the cat, kill the oven.
Yep.
If the cat never arrives. Oftentimes it's a little late to the party, but things looking pretty good so far for Márcio. This combo not online at all yet for David Inglis, missing pieces of his puzzle, as it were. So let's see what he can cobble together here as Rafine's Informant is going to connive.
Yep, absolutely. Rafine's Informant not looking great against the other creatures that Márcio has, but trying to find more than likely Greasefang. Even Greasefang bringing back Azika's Chariot here would be excellent. Here's the Thoughtseize, and we'll get a little view of what Márcio has. A couple ovens and a Deadly Dispute.
Deadly Dispute was a really nice addition to this deck.
Oh, yeah. And makes sense that both ovens without cats are not threatening at all. So Márcio's hand is pretty much blanks. A cat would be a huge draw, though.
Yeah. Let's see if the Cauldron Familiar shows up. Or if the ovens are going to be empty for the time being. Rafine's Informant is the 2/1 able to block any of the nonsense that Márcio has on the board right now.
Yeah, and David Inglis sitting in second place right now behind the one and only. The true, we were talking about unstoppable at the desk earlier. The only unstoppable person, I'm sorry, Monty and the Machine, it's Shota. That's the only one so far.
Mayhem Devil.
Mayhem Devil off the top was incredible.
I love this card so much.
Incredible draw by Márcio.
An inordinate amount, perhaps. And this is bad news bears with David Inglis. This little guy is going to make merry with the life total here of David Inglis.
Yeah, David's got to get something and got to get something quick.
Yeah. Board wipes, maybe? I don't know what he's going to do with the situation because now the ovens look good with a Mayhem Devil down. Oh, baby.
Yeah, Márcio did only discard one of them to Fable Chapter 2, which is slightly surprising. Must have drawn Mayhem Devil as the one draw, and it's like, okay, well, if I can find a cat, this is just an absurd amount of damage, can probably close out the game next turn. So that was the reasoning for that.
Fiend's Informant conniving away, needs to find something here, otherwise this is a very tenuous situation indeed for David Inglis.
Yeah, and Márcio, if you're picking up that 11th win, you got 2 win-ins after this, so things are really heating up for these players.
Oh man, this is tense here for David Inglis. Can he get out of the situation that Mayhem Devil needs to die? What you got there? All right, Witherbloom Command.
Yeah, and there's a couple of fatal pushes in David's sideboard to deal with Mayhem Devil. Outside of that, it's not great. So it looks like killing the blood and milling over some cards. I didn't see the second mode that we chose.
I think we went for the life.
Okay.
Uses 2, gains 2. Yeah, that's so important.
That's not where you want to be. When you're using that mode, it's panic mode.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is disaster control right now.
Okay.
All right.
Unlucky Witness there into Oven,
Oven,
sacrifice it, and look at some cards.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at a couple extra goodies on top of the library. Let's see if we can get a cat. Fatal Push. Thoughtseize.
Probably taking this Fatal Push. And you're able to, when Márcio attacks with the Shaman, get a treasure, sack that treasure, and deal with Informant. I think Márcio's doing math to see if Márcio can just win.
Yeah.
So right now it's 6.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh,
9,
with
10.
With copying Mayhem Devil, with
gross.
Reflection. I think this is game here because Reflection can copy Mayhem Devil. You can attack, sack the treasure, deal 2, and you can actually Fatal Push the Rafine's Informant, so you can deal 2 to the face. That's 10. 6 from the 2 Mayhem Devils, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, this should be -1.
-1 is less than 0.
That is facts.
Oh, goodness me.
Oh, excuse me. I think the Reflection did flip this turn.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
All right, so scratch that, but
scratch
still
that. Yep.
a possibility here that this game is going to be ending in rather short fashion. As we'll see the treasure token created. That'll kill the Rafine's Informant. Sacrifice the food as well. Damage to face, gain some life. And we'll be in for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Used a mana from treasure and that. And big draw step here, but the magic number with Parhelion is 13, so no way to really come back there.
Oh.
Big win.
Wow.
Big win from Márcio.
Big win indeed. 11-3. He improves his record too. So looking for that one more win to lock up the top 8 spot. We have more magic to show you from this round, my friends. So congratulations to Márcio Carvalho. We are next going to jump into Nassif, Yellow Hat once again. Doing what he does, playing excellent magic up against Derrick Davis, Enigmatic Fires. We saw this deck earlier in action and it looked sweet.
Yep, absolutely. I play a lot of magic with Derrick Davis. We do see him play a decent amount of SCG events that I see him at. A great magic player. Nice to see him here. And obviously the Hall of Famer, always nice to see some more magic. This matchup has got to be rough. We see the 6 dice there where Derrick has mulliganed. You really need a good draw. Fire's decks really don't want to play against combo in any regard. So mono green, Lotus Field, Izzet Creativity, all decks you don't want to play.
Yeah.
You really want to be playing against Rakdos mid-range. You eat that deck up. Fires, all this value is extremely good, but combo is a bit scary.
Oh, yeah. Alrighty, so for anyone who hasn't seen this Enigmatic Fires deck in action, which we haven't seen too often, we saw it a little bit earlier today, but if you're just tuning in, what is this deck trying to do?
Oh, it's the coolest deck in the field, for sure. It is exactly what I always want to be doing. We see that beautiful bird serpent there, Yorion in play. It is a Fires deck, so you're playing Fires of Invention, Enigmatic Incarnation, and then you're sacking enchantments to turn them into creatures. So you sack a lot of 2-mana enchantments, you get a lot of 3 mana. It's like Birthing Pod. For enchantments to creatures. So you turn your 2-mana enchantments into the right kind of 3-drop creatures that are, appropriate for the situation. You get to do that every single turn. With Nylea's presence, it does turn whatever land you have into every type, as we see right there. So Leyline's Binding being the new addition here that just automatically makes it cost 1, ends up being quite the combo. Not only that, you can sack Leyline's Binding to Enigmatic Incarnation to get some 7-drops. Atraxa, Agent of Treachery,
Gross.
Titan of Industry.
Oh, gross. Okay.
Yep, it's
You
so
sold me.
fun.
That sounds cool. Let's see what we can get going here on the other side of things. Gab and Nassif playing Izzet Creativity, which we've seen a bunch of. The team settled on this deck and are very happy with their choice, and it's serving them well. Gab and Nassif sitting at 10-3 so far, both players at 10-3 in fact.
Yep, and we just saw Reid as well, another teammate. I believe that is the last two that are, you know, at the very top of the standard, where they're looking great and in top contention. So make the top 8 tomorrow.
So Team CFB Ultimate Guard should be pretty darn happy with that performance. Let's see, what are we doing here with 4 mana? The land disparity, though. It's more lands over there, Corey.
Yeah, a little bit more lands there, but for Derrick, you really have to play things at sorcery speed. You do have the Leyline's Binding, but that's all reactive. That being said, Leyline's Binding is one of the very few ways that can interact with the creativity, because you can actually hit the treasure.
Yep.
In response, and if you can only get one of those cards, it's not that big of a deal. And on top of that, I suppose you can just Leyline's Binding the World Spine Worm when you give it haste, you know? So that is a selling point that maybe this matchup isn't as terrible as I'm thinking.
Okay, all right. Well, we got Soaken's and Crucible of Defiance. Our little spirits. Is it time to get creative?
It'd be pretty risky. It would be pretty risky right now, especially since Derrick did not buy Yorion there with that extra mana.
Yeah.
Probably cycling a couple of Triomes. This deck plays a ton of Triomes because you have to.
Yeah, Triome's just an excellent way to play all these multicolor combinations. So let's see what this turn yields here for Derrick Davis. 2 points of damage in with the spirits, so they're not going to get taken just yet. Oh, Deputy of Detention. Hey there, friend. I heard you like things in multiple.
Deal with both of those spirits straight away if there's no
response here from the Hall of Famer.
All right, I see Titan of Industry, 2 Enigmatic Incarnations, and a Leyline's Binding in Derrick's hand, I believe, with the little flash there into the camera.
It's a Deputy of Detention, taking care of that.
Mimic coming down, tapped as a land. Mimic's really awesome, too, because Incarnation, you can sack a 2-drop, and if you already have, let's say, Yorion in play in the late stages of these games, you can Mimic copying Yorion, keep the original Yorion, and then not only do you get to blink out and have your stuff come back into play, then the Yorion will trigger again, and they'll go out, and then they'll come back into play at Gabriel and Nassif's end step. That's the dream. That's the dream.
Oh my goodness.
It's a lot of fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun. I'm happy for you and the fun you have with the Big Bird Serpent.
I may have played a lot of this deck before. It's one of my faves.
So things looking pretty even Stevens right now. You know, no massive threats on the board, no big old Bird Serpent just yet, and you know, there is some cute stuff you can do with Yorion and Fires as well.
Yep.
Unlocking your hand so you can do stuff at instant speed, but Fable the Mirror Breaker is going to be the play here.
Yeah, you do a lot more fun stuff against decks that do not play islands. You know, the games get a lot more tricky. You just want to cycle sharks, do stuff like that. Kind of the boring part of the deck instead of really going off.
Oh, and there is Leyline Binding. Excellent removal spell. A new addition, and that goblin is getting out of there.
So that's the perfect play to do when you hit a token, because then you're not giving anything back when you Enigmatic Incarnation it.
Yep. And also it's a good flicker target for
Yorion, absolutely.
Himself,
yep. Yeah, and I believe I did see an Incarnation in Derrick Davis's hand, so we'll see if you want to go for it. The problem is, Agent of Treachery, not necessarily that good right now. There's nothing really worth taking. I believe I saw the Titan of Industry in hand already. And it looks like this version does not play Atraxa, which just generates a ton of card advantage. Just those 2 7-drops.
Titan of Industry a powerhouse in and of itself. You know, just the shield counter mechanic coming in. Pretty darn good indeed. Enigmatic Incarnation number 1 taken care of, but number 2 taken care of too. Make disappear and negate. So, you know, the control master himself just saying no.
Hat's gotta be thrilled about that to have Make Disappear be a viable card on turn 9 or 10.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, excellent stuff there from Hat.
Fable the Mirror Breaker Chapter 2. Let's see if we discard anything here for Gab, or if he's happy with the hand.
Yep, we did hear in the interview with Derrick, took down one of the Mox open events with this deck. So I don't know if anybody has played those events before. They're incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult. There's usually around 500-600 people, and you got to just straight win it.
It can't be that difficult. Nathan's won twice.
Yeah, easy game, easy game. Nathan is a very special case, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable Magic player, and there's a pretty good reason he's the reigning world champion right now. But
absolutely,
yeah, those mocks, it's not for the faint of heart. All right.
So I believe we did discard 1 Make Disappear, but only discarded 1 card from Fable, leading me to believe that Nassif has a pretty good hand here.
This is a fun part of the game where both players are just like, okay, what do we do from here? Derrick is tapped out, so if there is anything that Gab wants to do, now's the perfect time. But you know, those tokens have been taken care of, so.
Yeah, this is the turn you'd love to fire off creativity when everything's tapped out. But the thing is, this isn't a 1-turn combo deck, you know, unless you have a ton of mana where you can go big score. Where basically you have 9 mana, where you can big score into creativity for 2. Instead, you really got to just say go, set it up at end step, and then kill during your turn.
Exactly right. As the turn is passed back to Derrick Davis, all the mana available for Gab Nassif. You know, could possibly see a big shark too, depending what's in the hand.
Yeah, it'll be interesting here. At some point, you always have Yorion available, and I believe we do have 8 mana. 8 mana is the kind of magic number to be able to play it or buy it and play it. You get some value, be able to draw a card, then use Leyline Binding to be able to exile something else. All right, and it looks like I believe we did pick up Yorion. And into the hand. Let's see if we want to cast it or if this is just using mana efficiency. I believe I did hear Derrick say go.
Fable the Mirror Breaker, Chapter 3, gonna go off next turn, big score. Gonna make those 2 treasure tokens, gain a couple cards, and a discard here for Nassif. So is this gonna be the big turn that we're expecting? Impulse as well, to dig a little deeper into the library.
Okay, Impulse checking out some cards. Kind of an all-star that we've been seeing this weekend, you know, in the 2 combo decks. Izzet Creativity, at least the 2 combo decks that are being the most successful. Green didn't exactly have a great weekend these days. Or I shouldn't say these days. Today. didn't have a great day today.
Can you see in the future?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But Impulse just being a card that is not extremely powerful. You know, it doesn't really read as an extremely powerful card. But looking at 4 cards to find exactly one thing you need, quite a lot of cards.
Yeah. You know, that's one thing that blue decks do exceptionally well, besides saying no.
Yes, a lot of no.
Digging through the library to find exactly what it is that you need.
Yep. So Derrick did not play Yorion. It could be for a variety of reasons.
Yep.
One, you know, could easily have a bunch of stuff to cast and interact with. Could have nothing and is just bluffing, realizing if I play Yorion here and it gets Make Disappeared or whatever, then I'm tapped out.
Yeah.
Nassif just knows it's wide open to just go for it and win the game here. Impulse, we see Creativity, Mutavault, Impulse, and Mystery card. Not positive on that one. I believe that might be their one of investigate to get some clues.
Yep. I think that is exactly right. So the impulse resolves.
Impulse.
Impulse
We're just
number
going to do it
2.
again.
3 cards left.
Mismatching art.
Yeah.
Gabriel and Nassif.
Because why not?
Are we gonna?
You know, express yourself.
We're gonna allow it, I guess, for now. He's a Hall of Famer, and we love Gabriel and Nassif.
Untap, yeah.
Alrighty. Untap, upkeep, draw. Let's flip the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Reflection of Kikijiki on board. Doesn't have any friends to play with, though, at the moment. I just really want to see creativity cost and some big dum-dums hit the board.
You know, so does Nassif.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine.
It's definitely not foolproof, though. The more and more I keep thinking about this matchup, this isn't exactly a matchup that, you know, every pro is going to be like, oh, yeah, the Incarnation is a creativity combo deck. I know exactly how that plays out. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I think Leyline's Binding is truly a problem. Not for just dealing with the treasure, just dealing with World Spine Worm. So at that point, you know, creativity has to do exactly that. Get a little creative.
Dig.
Alrighty, where are we going? We're delving, we're digging through time. Ooh, okay. So let's take a look at the top 7 cards. 2 of them into hand, the rest in the bottom of the library in a random order.
And big shout out to Caroline Party giving us those graphics so quickly all the time, like just making it look great. So nice
A
work
mighty
there.
linguini indeed.
The mighty linguini, very mighty.
And shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Party.
Just got
Recently
married.
got married.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't party alone. You
No.
gotta have someone else to party
It
with.
takes 2
and-
to party.
Exactly.
Exactly. There you go. Alright, so dig through time has resolved. 2 cards
Yep.
to hand here for Nassif. Is it time to get creative?
Okay, there's the cycle. A lot of triomes in this deck.
Yep. Spar's headquarters into the bin, cycles through. Gets an extra card here for Derrick. Now, on Derrick's side of things, we know what Nassif is building to. What is his ideal play this turn?
Probably Enigmatic Incarnation to go get Titan of Industry, but I still think I saw, you know, 100 turns ago that Titan was in hand, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
You know, you see these creativity decks where you're playing Fire Prophecy, you're playing Valakut Awakening to put these cards on bottom. You can't really do that with this, so you just have to cast them.
Yep.
That leads to the really kind of weird games where this deck is full of toolbox cards. I mean, just a loose count right now, I'm counting like, you know, 8 or 9 one-ofs. So whenever you draw these one-ofs, it looks kind of weird because they're not exactly what you want. But it does lead to the, wow, you drew the one of Night of Autumn when you needed it most. And you're like, yeah, that's why I put it in the deck as a one-of. And not only a one-of in an 80-card deck because it's a Yorion deck.
Yes, indeed. Which makes it even more sucky when you draw your big
Yeah.
bombs that you're trying to hit with the Enigmatic Incarnation. It's like, oh, come on.
Exactly.
You're 1 in 80. What are you doing in my hand? There's another big score for Nassif, so...
I think it's just really like beautiful chaos is the
Yeah.
perfect way to look at
I
this
mean,
deck.
to be fair, Derrick is just trying to play the closest thing to Commander deck that he can.
Yeah, like we were saying.
I respect that.
Derrick was a big fan in Modern of the elemental decks, Risen Reefs, all those kind of stuff. Super fun deck as well. We have a joint taste in styles of decks. Big
I'm
fan of
sensing
Derrick.
a theme, yes.
Big fan of Derrick.
Bunch of cards in hand. 5.
Bunch of cards. Yeah, that's a bunch.
A bunch is a quantity, for sure. So Nassif, measuring, measured pace as always.
Cast your cards left.
Making sure that the way is absolutely clear to be able to fire off the combo.
Yep, and we heard Cast Yorion. Played against Derrick a couple times. One thing he always does is tap the mana while the card's on the stack, puts it behind. You know, we do have that cutoff spot. So Yorion is on the stack right behind the lands. We can kind of visualize that.
He's on the stack of lands.
On the stack of lands.
Ah.
You know, Yorion usually flies above the clouds, but this time, you know, living in the lands until it resolves.
Let's see
Look
if
at that
Nassif has
beautiful
any-
Yorion to the left.
Oh yes, that's very pretty, Yorion. Someone just needs to make like a Korean Sky Nomad and you'll be the happiest person in the world.
The amount of alt Yorians I have at my house that either people have sent me or stuff is outrageous, and I love every single piece of it. It's
Okay.
super cool.
I know what to get you for your birthday.
Yes, absolutely.
Impulse number, what's this, 4, 5, 3?
I believe
10?
that's 3 at least.
3 at least, yeah.
Yep.
Let's dig up a little more cards. Another 4 to look through.
And really just trying to find creativity plus protection.
Yeah.
And Nassif, you know, we've seen even the last round.
Ooh.
Oh, pays for it. That felt like a trap to me. That felt like bait from Nassif. So I wouldn't be too shocked if this is go time. You don't just, you know, put a dispute into a Yorian if they can easily pay with it. If that card was devastating to you.
Yeah.
Now the one thing is Deputy, Knight, and Leyline's Binding plus Nylea's Presence all blinking out to come back in. You would think Deputy against 3 treasures being extremely good, but you can just sack the treasure that they target, and then you no longer, you know, you don't get all 3.
Move to end step. Yeah. Trigger. This is going to come back here. I'm going to draw a card. This is gonna
Flicker a bunch of stuff. It all comes back in. Deputy's going to target the treasure. And in response, like you mentioned, the 3 treasures will be sacked.
Okay, it looks like it was Deputy targeted 1, Knight of Autumn targeted 1, Leyline's Binding targeted 1.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
That works.
I am at 16.
Okay, big old shark.
Ooh, a 7/7.
That is a large one.
Okay, yeah, that's a good old beat stick. Let's see if this shark gets to fly. It's bigger than a Orion, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Shark Typhoon.
Unfortunately, not a hard cost Shark Typhoon, but hey.
Both came from the same set, so they're kind of buds.
To hang out at the shark bar together.
Yeah, shark bar, there you go.
Yep.
Gnaw on some snacks together.
No, exactly, yes. Like a rip to shreds. Although, I don't know. I think Yorion's more of a martini guy, and the sharks...
There you go,
Yeah.
there you go. I like it. All right, so now we're going to see if there is any fireworks. Okay, big score. Definitely how you want to start. Looks like Spike Field Hazard to the yard. There's a couple of treasures, but that's a lot of blue mana left over, which just that alone kind of tells me that maybe the creativities are no longer in the deck. Maybe Nassif realizes that's a big problem.
Do you know the location of any cards on the bottom?
Yes.
We'll see here.
Impulses, you don't shuffle, right?
I didn't shuffle since
anything,
the...
other than
Oh, we have a judge call here, I believe.
Might be a judge call here.
Some point, right?
I don't see any reason why you
I didn't discard the worm ever. I discarded
Oh,
the
you
We'll
did
listen
discard
in.
the worm.
Maybe after the...
I think it was like right around here, but I don't
was
know.
maybe-
like
yeah.
I don't know where it was between.
There's probably like
Okay.
11 cards that I...
So for this judge call, Nassif accidentally saw an extra card. That card needed shuffling in while preserving the bottom of the library.
Yeah, the bottom of the library, a very important thing. You know, I was talking to Ely, and it's like, you know what? When you mulligan with this deck, it's actually kind of awesome since you don't shuffle. If you draw a Zendegos or World Spine Worm, you put it at the bottom, and you know that one's on the bottom. So
Yeah.
let's say you have Zendegos in your hand. You can put it at the bottom and creativity for 1 if World Spine Worm is, like, effective in some
Yeah.
way.
For the dig, but
Yeah.
11 cards sounds reasonable as known cards on the bottom of your library. So we're going to count out 11 cards, shuffle the scene
Okay,
card,
so the judge just
and proceed to
sorting that out with the players.
Yeah, mistakes happen. Maybe just stuck one card
Yeah.
stuck to the hand or something. You know, after playing a long day, not only do you get sweaty hands, but you've been playing a lot. Your brain kind of hurts. These kind of things happen. These kind of things definitely happen. And this is a tough deck to play over and
Yeah.
over, this creativity deck.
You know, the fatigue is real after so many rounds. You know, it's kind of an endurance thing. You know, you don't, you're not used to playing long games of Magic
Yeah.
every single day, unless you do it every single day.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so different when it's for these stakes. You know,
Yeah.
people do not play pro tours every day, even if they are, you know, grinding on arena every single day. Big difference for sure.
Yeah, it takes a big toll on your brain, on your body. So if you are playing out there, friends, make sure you stay hydrated.
Yeah. Have a snack in between drafts.
Keep snacks on you.
4 cards, 5 cards.
Just nothing messy. No crumbs.
Yeah. Speaking of snacks, the 7/7's looking to take a bite out of Derrick here.
Nice segue there, friend.
Thank you.
Down to 9 goes Derrick. Nassif sitting at 18.
And one thing I want to bring some attention to, we do have that Hall of the Storm Giants there in Nassif's land. Not necessarily coming up right now with all these blockers, but you get Derrick into range. Does have to be a little careful about how many attackers he can have into that.
Sure.
Okay, what do we got here? This might be that Titan we've been seeing for quite a while.
Yeah, he's been hanging out for a while. Titan of Industry. Does this resolve? Any response here from Gab Nassif? That is a big ol' 7/7.
Looks like I'm hearing the mode, so I believe it did resolve. I heard shield counter and 4/4. See if the judges have that 4/4 green rhino available. Not the most common token to be placed.
Yeah, shield counter, reach, trample. So you know, I've heard buildings like to eat sharks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, flying sharks with the Shark Typhoon. When you got a shield counter on it, that is quite the house to block.
Yeah. So let's see if we got anything here from Gab to deal with the Titan of Industry.
Thinking about getting that Mutavault in there against Knight of Autumn. Says no thank you. Goes to 12. This has been a great game.
Yeah.
Guessing Nassif's hand is not that good, though, if we're... Didn't cycle or anything there. Has not missed a land drop in a while.
Lots of lands, perhaps. So Mutavault. Hall of Storm Giants. The creature lands available. To Nassif.
Yeah, if Nassif's hand is like really bad, then we're probably going to see this creature land fired up now. But, you know, it is still a 7/7 as well. So Titan of Industry, a really good answer here. And it looks like the other mode, since we have not seen that 4/4 come into play, maybe we just gained 5 life. I'm not sure what that other mode was.
Yeah, no artifact or enchantment of relevance. So perhaps it was the life gain. Oh yeah, he was down at 9.
Sounds right. All right. Oh, I thought that was the hand for a second. I was going to be like, okay, Nassif's hand is terrible.
Do you ever lose your hand? You just put it down somewhere and it's like, where the heck did my hand go?
Yeah, I left my hand at the supermarket one time, really.
I'll put it in my pocket sometimes. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the heck? And other times I'm just hell-bent. So.
Well, you'd be getting a warning for that one, Ailey,
yeah.
if you're putting your hand in your pocket.
I'm mostly casual magic, so it's all good. Oh, goodness me.
All right, so Mutavault looking like when it taps itself like that, you're usually getting in as a creativity target.
I think so, yeah. Creativity,
bang, bang.
targeting the treasures.
So what that's
For
saying,
3.
this is playing around one Leyline's Binding as the target, where, you know, there's still only 2 hits. Now, this doesn't mean there's no Leyline's Binding at all, because Derrick knows what this combo is.
Yeah.
And Derrick can just be like, okay, yeah, you can get the things. I'm going to take your Worm or Zendigo.
Yeah.
Probably the Worm, because a 15/15 is still incredibly good. But Nassif has extra mana here. Has 4 extra mana. Not much of a library left. And one card we haven't seen, we've seen 1 negate. At this point, you look in your graveyard and be like, okay, what's left in my deck?
Yeah.
Not only will Nassif be doing that, Derrick will be doing that as well. With an open deckless tournament. So I see 1 more make disappear in the deck, Disdainful Stroke, and 1 more negate as options.
I have a question about shield counter. This will still trample. If I block with this,
Talk about the shield counter interaction.
Yep.
Correct.
Does this work, is what Nassif is asking.
And it will. It will.
Yeah.
The shield counter, of course, will just keep it alive, but it's not like it has to deal 14 damage to it or anything.
It'd be sick if you guys didn't even have a binding.
So let's see. Is there a response here?
Nassif's like, yeah, that would be sick if it worked like that, but it doesn't. So right now there's 10 toughness that can block, and there's 30 coming in. So this is 20 damage to the face if Derrick has nothing here.
Does Derrick Davis have a defense against a 30-power World Spine Worm, as well as the Shark? Yeah, you got to think about the Shark can attack too. And that's going to be it.
Wow.
That's the game.
What
Derrick
a
Davis
match.
unable to fend off the attack, the onslaught from the worm. So we got there, Corey.
Yeah.
We got to the combo.
We got there, yeah, absolutely. And I still just felt so bad from yesterday. I had to go apologize to Nassif last time for cursing him, saying all you needed to do was not draw Zendagos, and drew it right away. This time the caster curse was not there, and he picks up the win.
He won anyway. He's that good.
Exactly.
You can curse him as much as you like.
Yep.
That's going to do it for this round, my friends. When we come back after the break, we'll be at the news desk with Maria.